shut the fuck.
I'm not holding the umbrella for you no more.
Men work hard to make money to get women. Women work hard to make money to not have a man. Think about that.
I love it. Anything to make themselves feel.
It's going to be a cold day in hell before women admit that if they had actually listened to people that told them not to do certain things, the outcome would have been totally different. A lot of women are living in the results of their own actions and they don't like it. And that's why it's just like, I keep telling y'all, it is truly better to take heed. It is truly better to take heed, because this is the thing. When people are giving you advice or a suggestion, you don't gotta listen. But it's always wise to remember, at the end of the day gonna end, and you're gonna be the one stuck in that situation. You're gonna be the one that gotta go to sleep with all that on your mind. You're the one that got that man up in your face that, that's your life. People forget about that. Like, everybody else's life gonna go on, babe. Everybody else's life gonna go on. And you're gonna be sit there stuck looking what? Looking what?
Anthony Edwards really said, look here, let's get down to the nitty gritty of why we here. How much is it gonna cost me to pay my 18 years of child support up front? That is one of the most unhinged things I've ever heard of. Who would think of some shit like that? He dead ass wrong. He knew laying down with this lady and not pulling out could create a baby. 1 + 1 = 3. We learned that in grade school. We learned that in grade school. Now, she also knew the situation she was putting that baby in. That man told her he didn't want that baby. Nothing to do with it. The baby the only one innocent at this point. The baby the only one innocent.
A man's birthday is one of my worst fears. Y'all, follow me. Join me on this journey. That's when they had a crush on the man from kindergarten pop out the woodworks. Y'all was playing with crayons. Get out of here. He's mine now. That's when the ex pop out, the ex mama pop out, the phone blowing up that he kind of want. It kind of feels like a funeral. My funeral.
No one talks about the dark side of being in attention, especially as the president of the Attention Association. I have big shoes to fill, and I'm struggling, especially during right now. We're suffering from a time of attention drought. It's honestly comparable to being a phoenix, and I can literally feel myself and my body withering away into ashes and floating off into the wind. I'm gone, literally. And I know the only way to be reborn and to cure myself is to force myself to be the center of attention in a public situation. So here are the options. I can wear high heels to class tomorrow, or my floor-length furry coat. Let me know.
Okay, here's some advice as the second baby mama. Number 1, don't become the second baby mama. The first one wasn't crazy. He just didn't like being held accountable. And he's not a victim. He's just experiencing the consequences of his own actions. And I'm going to need you to move on and pick someone else. Matter of fact, go ahead and start therapy, because the fact that you picked him in the first place is indicative of a problem. Okay, I love you. Just go to therapy. Okay, bye.
Okay, guys, 47 years old, and yes, I use filters on here because it's easier. Sometimes I don't want to put makeup on my face. Putting makeup on your face every day, damages it, and it's not good for it. So, and you're about to see the filters I use are incredibly natural. It just looks like I did makeup. It's nothing too wild and crazy, but here we go. I'm about to do this. So this is just like the regular filter or beauty filter on the retouch. That's what it's called, the retouch. Okay, now without the retouch. Here we go. Skin is definitely, a little bit more texture to it. Oh, I got wrinkles. Yep, I don't use Botox. Baggy eyes. Had the baggy eyes since I was 14 years old. Story for another day. Neck isn't doing too bad, but yeah, that's it, guys.
And I do understand that there are a lot of women out there that don't have the intention of being deceitful. They just want to smooth out a few wrinkles, cover a couple of blemishes. But I think a lot of modern women do more than that, to the point that a man doesn't even know what they look like. And so they just say, please just be natural.
Okay, Vancouver Hinge update. I matched with like this dude. It was real cute, but he unmatched me so fast. When I told him I was in Georgia and that I was nowhere near Vancouver, but like I can travel. Like, hello. Don't let distance stop you from meeting your wife. Has nobody ever told you that? A man's birthday is one of my worst fears. Y'all, follow me. Join me on this journey. That's when that had a crush on the man from kindergarten pop out the woodworks. Y'all was playing with crayons. Get out of here. He's mine now. That's when the ex pop out, the ex mama pop out, the phone blowing up that he kind of won't. It kind of feels like a funeral. My funeral.
Okay, guys, 47 years old, and yes, I use filters on here because it's easier. It's easier. Sometimes I don't want to put makeup on my face. Putting makeup on your face every day, damages it, and it's not good for it. So, and you're about to see the filters I use are incredibly natural. It just looks like I did makeup. It's nothing too wild and crazy, but here we go. I'm about to do this. So this is just like the regular filter or beauty filter on the retouch. That's what it's called, the retouch. Okay, now without the retouch. Here we go. Skin is definitely, a little bit more texture to it. Oh, I got wrinkles. Yep, I don't use Botox. Baggy eyes. Had the baggy eyes since I was 14 years old. Story for another day. Neck isn't doing too bad, but yeah, that's it, guys.
Okay, so all these men are just like, you're a breath of fresh air. You're just so like lively and like outgoing. And I'm like, yes, I know. Like, what do you bring to the table? What benefit are you bringing? I'm always like, yes, I know I'm amazing and perfect and easy to talk to. It's like, it's so hard to find men that bring benefits and like adds to my life, because it's like, you are welcoming and friendly, and it's just, you know what I mean?
PSA to any man that wants to get to know me or that even says hi to me from now on. First things first, I'm going to check your Instagram following. And if I see that you're following nothing but hot girls and women, then you're immediately disqualified. I'm good. I don't need to say hi back. I don't want to get to know you. And that might sound crazy, but like, I'm good. I'm so good. Not to mention, it also makes you less attractive immediately.
One of the best pieces of advice I've ever gotten was when I was younger. It was when my dad sat me down and said, hey, if you actually want to improve your life, you need to remember that you don't need to make every mistake. And in fact, you can just learn from the mistake of others. Matter of fact, none of your mistakes are innovative. Someone somewhere has already made this mistake. The only difference between you and them is that your ego makes you think that despite going down the same path, that you're going to get different results. Makes you think that you are going to be the exception because, well, sometimes some things are the exception. But that's where you go wrong. You're choosing to go down the same path and make the same mistake only to learn the same hard lessons that many people in history have already learned. Stop doing that.
It's what men be trying to tell these modern women, but they keep on racking up body.
My partner of 7 years left me for the little girl, and I say that word intentionally with my whole chest, a little girl, she's 22 but still, who he was flirting with behind my back for God knows how long. But he, literally went from me to her. Didn't have 10 minutes to himself to figure out if he would miss me, if I had any kind of value to him. And he's instantly enmeshed in this girl's life. I shouldn't be watching for stalking on my burner accounts, but they're reposting about, this is worth fighting for. Meanwhile, he didn't fight for me. They're reposting about having babies and getting married. I mean, what? How do you deal with something like that?
Honestly, you start to feel bad after stories like this, but then you remember that a lot of these modern women, their communication is trash as well.
How do you love someone for 7 years? Hold them every night, protect them from everything. You're their person. You know the ins and outs of their lives. You know their context. You know their fears, their vulnerabilities. How do you do that? Do zero effort to salvage whatever resentment is building. Zero effort to be a good partner, to show up, to fix things. Zero communication to be like, hey, there's a problem going on. and then instantly abandon someone and replace them and protect someone else who did not put that effort into. How do you do that? It creeps me the hell out. And then also weaponize the exact fears and insecurities that you know that person has. How do you do that to someone who loved you for 7 years?
A few moments later.
And another thing, when he left me in the middle of our lease for another girl that he'd been flirting with behind my back for months, I was jobless. Isn't that great? I was jobless and 3,000 miles away from home. So I was in a really vulnerable spot, as you can imagine. And when I say I was jobless, I mean, I've been an online spicy worker, right? But I'm not very good at it. The money fluctuates. It's up and down. I become financially reliant on him. It's not something I'm proud of. He was paying the rent. I was doing all of the household cleaning. I did everything I could to make up for that deficiency within our relationship. I had gone through some stuff, right? I've been trying to get back on my feet. I've been trying to get a job. I've gone through a phobia that really debilitated me. I lost a lot of weight. It was a hard time, okay? The he replaces me with was trying to shame me for not having a job or whatever. Tell me why she's reposting TikToks about wanting to be a stay-at-home wife. What the hell?
2,000 years later.
I woke up in cold sweats, fist fighting the air, because I had such a detailed, hyper-specific, realistic nightmare that my partner of almost 7 years just one day, very abruptly, very suddenly, abandoned me and replaced me with someone else. And in the nightmare, the girl was very different from me. She was like the cool girl type of archetype, just like not as whiny, desperate, neurotic as I am right now. And she definitely looked down at me as like, oh, you know. Anyways, and they worked together. And in the dream, he at first wasn't an asshole to me. He was just pitying me. And all of his buddies, like one of his buddies in particular, was like getting along with the girl too. And I thought we were friends. No, he was getting along with the girl. And yeah, everyone was acting like, well, yeah, he's replaced you. Get over it. And I was like this sad puppy dog, like, what happened to our life? What's going on? What? And yeah, he wasn't being an asshole to me. He still loved me. He just pitied me. It was over. And he had feelings for this other girl. I had never so viscerally felt that pain before. I've never been the jealous type. I was always down for an open relationship. I did not ever have fears that this man would ever cheat on me or replace me. I never felt anything close to threatened by another woman. Literally never. In fact, I laughed. I thought it was funny when someone would like flirt with him. Anyways, this nightmare affected me for some reason, like a lot. I talked to him about it. He tells me, oh, no, it's just all in your head. You should talk to your therapist. Tell me why 15 days later, literally 15 days later, he comes home from work and he tells me that he has been flirting with someone at work, and she is very different from me. She is that cool girl archetype. She's a Trumper. And then he does, very suddenly and abruptly, leave our whole entire life in the middle of our lease. He leaves me, he leaves our cat. And at first he was not being an overt asshole. He was just pitying me. It was just, I love you, but sorry, the feelings aren't there between us anymore. I have this for this other woman. And his friend, who in the dream was just fine with it. That happened. That was true. This friend who I invited him to our Christmas, I made him a Christmas present. I encouraged their friendship. Yeah, literally just abandoned me like our life didn't exist. Am I a witch? Am I a witch? Thank you very much.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
I just want to marry a hot girl. Let me explain. Yes, initially men are fueled by attraction. It's just the way that they're built. But as a woman, looks can only take you so far. What men really want and what they really need is peace. You need to be his peace. A man's job is to provide for you. He's going to be operating at high stress levels, and the last thing he needs is to deal with your toxic drama. He needs to come home after working hard all day to provide for you. He needs to come home to peace. You need to be comfort, you need to be his peace. And the older I get, truly the more I understand this. You can literally be the hottest girl alive, the hottest. But if you are drama, if you are toxic, if you are just constant, he's gonna dip you so fast you can't even blink. Men don't like the drama. So if you really want to tie a man down, stop focusing so much on your looks and start focusing on yourself. Start focusing on how can I provide him peace? How can I provide him stability and make sure I have everything locked down here so he can go and deal with his high stress job to provide for us. Looks aren't everything at the end of the day.
I agree with everything in this article. I'm getting a little tired of the framing of this ongoing conversation that we're having around women not getting in relationships and not getting married. Somehow it's always framed in the negative, as if women are doing something wrong by going to college more, earning more, buying more homes, as if by succeeding and leveling up, we are somehow not fulfilling our feminine role. I know a lot of women who are incredibly high achieving and they really want to find love, but they simply can't. Why isn't this article titled American men are no longer desirable to American women. And as women are making all of these incredible strides, we are still framed as though we are doing something wrong. And I think the fallacy is that we don't want to be in love, that we don't want to find people. That's not true. There's just no one to date. Finally, I just feel like the term giving up feels like, again, we're being defeatist. We're not. There's just no options.
You know, you can never really satisfy a modern woman. You can't. It don't matter how you say it, what you say, they always gonna find fault, even if you're supporting them.
Being a girl is so funny sometimes because last night I told my boyfriend, hey, I just had the discovery that I think I like steak more than I like chicken. And he was like, oh, nice. If my sister or best friend told me that statement, I would be like, oh my God, why steak instead of chicken? Is there something we need to unpack? Like, what type of steak do you like? What made you have this realization? Do you want to talk about it? Like, men are just like, nice. Nice. Oh, nice. I would love to be a man for a day because it would be so funny. Like, I have to unpack every single thing that my friends or family say to me at all times, no matter what it is. Steak or chicken? Oh my God, why? Why chicken instead of steak? Why steak instead of chicken? Let's really get into it.
I'm in the beauty supply minding my business, and a man comes up to me and says, may I give you a piece of advice? Take off them big ass glasses. They just don't suit your face. I'm just trying to buy some mousse.
One of the things I learned from having male friendships, and by the way, I don't know if this is them pretending to make themselves feel better or they actually feel this way, but when a relationship goes wrong or women are, doing stupid things to them, they just literally think like, this will not be my wife, and they leave it there. Even if they keep messing with the girl, they keep her around for entertainment, whatever the reason is, they just already know this is not going anywhere, so whatever she does, like, it's fine. But I just feel like, personally, if I would have developed a mentality like that a long time ago, I feel like I wouldn't have gone through half the things I went through. Like, trying to force men to act right, trying to put them into a box of, like, a good boyfriend or a perfect future husband. I would just let things be. Like, this will not be my husband, that's fine, but let me enjoy his company while he's around. Let me just, entertainment, whatever, if things are going good, and just leave it at that. But, like, not every person has to be the one. Not every person has to tick off all your boxes. Like, I don't know. I just feel like life will be easier.
And literally within seconds, it went back. They were wearing burqas because there was no protection from the men. Right now, if men didn't protect women, y'all could walk out in this street and get no one could stop it. Who's going to stop it? Men keep other men in check. That's why it's sad that women talk so low to men when literally women wouldn't have anything if men decided we're not going to give it to you.
Damn.
And allow men lower themselves to raise women up. Because if a man decided that he wanted to just continue to oppress you, what could you do to stop it? If men collectively said, we're going to continue to win, we're going to continue to keep women in the house and barefoot and pregnant, what could women do to stop it?
Nothing.
Thank you, dear.
That's a fact.
So men should be looked at a lot better than they are because we're looked at as horrible people and we're literally protecting and building society.
I have never seen an away crowd to a man give a standing ovation.
Literally that. If I walked up to LeBron James, that man, if we got in a fight, could do some damage to me, to put it extremely mildly. And there's nothing that I could do about it. Literally nothing. It is because he decides to be a halfway decent human being and say, I shouldn't be doing that I even have a chance to continue walking on this earth. Modern women, something to think about.
Older men, I have a question, okay? What age is young for a woman, like the age range? So this guy said I'm too old. I'm 27. Like, when I think of like a mature woman, or just not even like super mature, but just like a grown woman, I think of like 35 plus. Like, what is the age range when you guys are talking about you guys want somebody young and fun? What is that age range? I'm just curious.
I have an opinion, and it's just an opinion, and it's a thought. The crash out that us women are going through about how men are becoming more feminine is awful lot similar to in the late 1990s and early 2000s when women were becoming more independent, more self-sufficient, and I guess more masculine. And the men were crashing out back then for women being or becoming more masculine. Is there a correlation? I mean, there has to be, right?
I'm seeing this narrative go around social media a lot where only 80% of women want the top 20% of men or something like that. And that's the high value men. And there's like a large pool of women who want this very small pool of high value men. What I have to say about that is you need to ask yourself, why is there so few high value men? Why is that? And would that be a better use of your time and attention to address why are there so few high value men that can't seem to keep up with how women are out earning and outpacing them in every other facet in life? Because that's truly the issue, is that women are outperforming men when it comes to college degrees, when it comes to home ownership, when it comes to income. We're outperforming you. So how can you level that playing field instead of going on Reddit forums and complaining about how women want a quality man? Why wouldn't we want that? When you go in these red pill communities, when you go on these red pill forums, and you go in my comment section and you complain about these things, what you're admitting is that you're not a high value man. Because high value men, if they're having dates every night and they just have this too many women to choose, that's what they're spending their time doing. They're not under my videos complaining about the modern woman or complaining about how all women want just the small pool of high quality men. So by being in my comment section and complaining about these things, you are admitting that you are a low quality man. You are not in this pool. You're not in the small percentage of high value men. So I think what a better use of your time would be then is to figure out how to become a high quality man. Wouldn't that be a better use of your time instead of arguing with these crazy feminists online? Wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be more productive? You're telling on yourself, and the problem is you. You're the problem. Life isn't fair. I don't know how many times men have told that to women. Life isn't fair, snowflake. Go work on yourself and stop telling on yourself in my comment section. And the reason why is because traditionally you guys did not secure power and resources through merit. You secured power and resources through intimidation and violence. So you are going back to those same tools, those same mechanisms of control and violence to try to level the playing fields now. You're trying to get on women's comment sections and intimidate them and insult them to try to get them to lower their standards. When this whole time you could be operating in a meritocracy, which is what you guys always preach, and working on your own merit and working on your own qualifications and becoming the high value man that you guys drone on and on about, right? So that's what you need to do.
Let me highlight one of the comments here that pretty much said what I was going to say. He says, it's your faulty definition of a high value man. You legit just defined it as low value man equals less income, less credentials. I didn't hear kind, nice, thoughtful, honest, sincere, interesting. That's because they don't care about it. They don't care nothing about that. Oh, he was the most sweetest, honest, man. But I make more money than him, so we can't be together.
I'm seeing this narrative go around social media a lot where only 80% of women want the top 20% of men or something like that.
Right. I have also seen that. So what about that is a fallacy? Because it certainly seems, based on everything that we've seen, that 80% of the women do in fact want 20% of those top tier high value men.
What I have to say about that is you need to ask yourself, why is there so few high value men?
That's a very good question. But I think the first question that we really need to ask is what actually constitutes a high value man? Because that answer can vary widely from one person to the next. But the consensus that I have seen, unfortunately just on social media, usually has to do with a man and his ability to be a provider. But is there more to it than how much a man makes? Yes, occasionally someone will mention how tall a man is, or what their physical body type is like, but that does not necessarily make a man high value just by how much money he makes. So what exactly is a high value man?
I was introduced to an old man at a bar tonight, and he is a stained glass artist. I was like, oh cool, your work looks really cool. He goes, do you have any hobbies? And I go, a few different ones. And he went, the thing I've noticed about females in my experience on this earth is that they tend to want to do a little bit of everything, but they never get really, really good at one thing. And his wife was sitting right next to him. So I said, well, if I'm really lucky, maybe one day I'll be really, really good at something. But what I should have said was,
I actually have spent 30 years getting really, really good at listening to men talk at me.
Girl, be quiet.
Okay, I have a question for all of my dating app girlies. I have been getting recently guys asking me on first dates to Soho House, San Vicente Bungalow. Like, hey, you want to grab drinks with me at Soho House? And I don't know why that is such an ick. It's almost the equivalent to name dropping. I don't know why as soon as I get asked that, I'm like, no. It could be a me thing. I need the girls to check me on this. If it's just a me thing, then tell me nicely.
So here I am on their Instagram. They've got one coming up soon in Santa Monica and New York. And then they've got a private membership over there in West Hollywood already. But this is what's giving her the ick, fellas.
Another makeup face. I be looking at these women that people get with, and I be like, you only see them made up like this. This is not how people look, brothers.
That's terrible.
Do you see that face? That is all makeup. I'm not saying she's not an attractive woman without the makeup, but I'm saying this is how the world works. You are deceived. I have so many women, I tell them, don't put on no makeup when I come over. And I've had girls refuse to let me over. I don't want to see you like that every time I see you. I want to see you. I don't want you to have on makeup and all that on every time I see you. Can I look at how you really look? And then the one girl who did, she just would not. She was like, I have to wear my hair. I cannot let you over without my hair. Corey, why are you doing this to me? I want my 200.
Baby, Anthony Edwards said, in monthly payments, give me the total. He basically saying, I'm not finna finance nothing, including them kids. How much is it? You not finna drag me back to court every time you want to increase running up my attorney's fees. How much is all 216 payments? And come to find out, the baby mama is like 38 years old. Anthony is like 23. Girl, you knew exactly what you was doing. But he hit you with that plot twist and was like, I don't want nothing to do with you or that baby. I give you all the money up front. You better budget wisely over the next 18 years. You wanted a check, I'll write you a check, but it's the only one you gonna get. Ladies, y'all better quit trying to trap these YNs. They don't give a damn. They not gonna beat around the bush with you. They'll just flat out tell you, I don't want that damn baby. Now, I do feel bad for that baby though, because the baby ain't did nothing to nobody. But ladies, y'all gotta stop trying to tie these young men down with responsibilities that they don't want, because they not gonna take them. And then you already know she was on some, I'm gonna trap his ass type of shit. Because right before she had that baby, she moved to California. Anthony filed his case in Georgia. California has stricter child support laws than Georgia does. She was trying to get more money, but that backfired on her ass. Because Anthony said she moved to California for the sole purpose of trying to get more child support. And the judge agreed with him and sent that case back to Georgia. She tried to manipulate the system, and Anthony said, I can't be manipulated. Girl, just go and take your check and leave that man the hell alone.
Men, so this is a really big divorce attorney. He knows what he's talking about. He's seen a lot. And this is why I believe that marriage is rigged. So I want you to hear what he says and then let me know what you think.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem with modern marriage from a man's perspective, as far as I'm concerned. Most of the marriages I know, okay, the man provides financially. He protects, right? He, he's also there to be part of the family dynamic, taking care of kids, doing the things that he can do. What does the woman bring? She brings love, affection, a little bit of sweetness at the end of the day, brings, taking care of kids. Okay. If you get divorced, every single thing on that side of the man equation, he can be compelled to do by the power of the state. And if he fails to do it, they can put him in jail.
Heartbreaking.
Nothing on that other side, the female side, is enforceable at law. The court cannot order her to be nice to you, to be a wonderful mother to your children. They can't force that. So when you have a contract where only one side of it is enforceable with the power of the state and the other side is not.
So this is why I think that marriage is just rigged. It's all on the benefit of the woman. She gets the golden parachute. There's no accountability, no consequences, and she has all the leverage to use against you. And it's just not in the man's favor to do this. I'd really like to hear what you guys think. I know there's a lot of men that have already suffered. So let them know your experience and let us know.
Soon as you leave that home, and I mean soon as you leave that home, car, crib, new job, new place, new money, new body, new morals, new goals, new places, new people, no, bitch, no.
That's how it went with my ex too. God is good.
Hey, don't leave him alone. Just got to comment on the video I just posted about the cheaper to keeper. Well, then why are men cheating? What, because she's cheaper? No, because you're not putting out. Because you've been together for 10 years and you screw them every other month. That is why men are cheating. I am not condoning cheating. I am not. I am going to sit here, however, and say I understand why they do. If you're the perfect woman, you're putting out and you're doing all the right things and he cheats and you're not dating a man, you're dating a boy. There are still bad men in this world. We are aware of it. So again, before you want to come at me with, well, they cheat. So do women. But you'll never find out because they're better at hiding it. I'm so sick of this one-sided, where every female thinks a man is the problem. 9 times out of 10, it is females. You don't put out, you think you're entitled to money, you trap him for pregnancies, you get married just to have the ring in the wedding but don't actually love him. Oh, men are the problem. No, men are just brutally honest and you can't handle it.
I'm not gonna hold y'all. Every time I look up, I see something about men ain't approaching no more, you know what I'm saying, dating sucks and blah, blah, blah. And honestly, my wallet loves this. But I got more money than I never had, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie. Keep this rolling, my boy. And I'm at peace. I got more money, my peace of mind back, do what the fuck I want to do, when I want to do it, whenever I want to. I ain't gonna lie. It's the life.
Not saying that the only purpose you'll have in life is to be a wife, but just in case you do decide that one day, yeah, I realize when I talk to God, this is where I'm going to be. This is who I am. I am called to be a wife. I need you to know how to manage that man. My daughters don't see me mismanage my husband. It's very important that they don't see that. They don't see that. We laugh a lot. Me and my husband don't hide conflict. We don't do it. If we into it, you may see there may be a little tension. We work through it in that same day. We're going to work through it. Y'all going to see us work through it. I need y'all to have conflict resolution skills. I need y'all to understand, don't mismanage this person because then that creates space for resentment and that creates space for temptation.
That's hard for a lot of women. A lot of modern women say that they have communication skills that are
Provider man, provider man, provider man. That's all y'all can talk about on the internet, but I'm here to tell you, not every woman deserves a provider man. Not every woman is going to get a provider man. Provider men are hard to come by. So you best believe he gonna date top tier. And you know what? You are not top tier. And I'm not talking about looks. And I'm certainly not talking about professional accolades and how much you make. It's like, mentor, mentee, provider, providee. If you are not operating like someone who wants to be provided for or who is accustomed to be provided for, you are not going to be provided for. That's a lifestyle. And y'all ain't ready for it. Y'all are not ready. You're not going to get what you think you deserve just because you're a woman, just because you got a look between your legs, baby. That is not it. That is not the prerequisite. And again, it's not about looks either, as much as y'all think it is. Some of these girls that get provided for, yeah, they may have the looks going for them, but I guarantee you they got something else going for them. That's the part y'all can't get because y'all attitude sucks. Yeah, you.
As a man grows older, he starts to appreciate peace over beauty, because a woman will be pretty only for a while, but a woman who brings peace will be pretty for life.
I intend on opening a clinic. Yes, a rehab for eyes.
So Candace, that already exists. It's called church. That's where these hoes go when they decide that it's time to get married after their run through, or if they have, multiple baby daddies, having kids out of wedlock. All of a sudden they decide it's time to get married and time to settle down. So they go to church. All of a sudden they're born again virgins in their late 20s or their 30s.
This is my first date. An actual date. It's pretty nice.
This man very obviously put in a ton of effort into that date. And for women that don't agree with that because it wasn't out to dinner at a really fancy place, I would stand to argue that that sort of date actually takes a lot more effort because it takes a lot more of his time. And what I think some women do not understand is how a man that puts in effort like this into a date, when he gets stood up, that really hurts. Way more than you just texting him and saying that you're not interested in him. Because a man appreciates that sort of message because he doesn't want to waste his time. He doesn't want to waste his investment. And he wouldn't want to go on a date with a woman that isn't excited for him just as much as he is her. I will keep saying it until I am blue in the face. A man wants to be with a woman that wants him back.
Women on average tend to have a cynical expectation of men. It's this posture of, you have to prove to me that you're good enough, while simultaneously expecting that he assumes that you are good enough. Most women aren't coming to this proverbial table acknowledging their faults and saying, this is what I need to work on. Most are coming saying that this is what you need to work on. So even when a woman is encountered with a man who was raised by both parents, there's still an assumption that he has some emotional shortcoming or he doesn't express himself properly. Some women talk to men from a place of emotional or intellectual superiority, and it sets that precedent, and that's what makes him defensive, because now he feels like, oh, challenging you're challenging me and you're expecting the worst out of me. If men are being asked to have grace for women, do our due diligence to understand all the intricacies of what the woman has been through, even her natural cycles and the whole nine, and how that affects her disposition, there needs to be that work done from the female delegation for men. I'm hearing from men that that's not the case. Women are assuming that they've already done the work.
Some of you ladies be wanting six-figure men, but do not dress, speak, or act the parts. No, I cannot take you to the galas. I cannot take you to the country club meetings with me or the fancy dinners. You cannot hold an intellectual conversation, nor do you fit in the crowd. I'm sorry, appearances matter. And yours don't measure up to what you're asking for. So if you're asking for these type of men, please come correct. And this is not to hurt your feelings, ladies. This is just to be for real. Because it matters. Appearance matters as much as we don't want to admit that it does. It does. Get yours together, then come back around and circle back for that man that you want. Because what you're presenting to him right now ain't it.
A woman can go out with a guy, a high status male. She can have sex with him, which gives her the impression that's her weight class for a relationship, but he's not interested in a relationship. And then she basically decides the bottom 90 are no longer in her weight class. And you can't tell a woman to lower her expectations, but the reality is, and what the data I've seen on dating apps, is that all of the women want the same few guys, and they shut out the rest.
Yeah, okay, so there's a few things I'll respond to there. So one, going back to the income graph, I want to just call out that yes, right now in a few urban markets, women are making more than men. So women in DC and New York under 30 are making more than men on average, but in most situations, men are still making more than women, but we're talking about a projection. Going back to the dating research. So yes, it's exactly as you described. What we have right now is there's fewer and fewer men that are hypergamous mates for women. So if there's a much smaller pool of guys, then what you have is you have a bunch of women competing for the same men, and then a bunch of guys get ignored. But what I also see is that those top guys are having a hard time deciding. So I feel like in my coaching practice as a dating coach, I'm working with a lot of women who say, what do I do? I've changed my profile the way you said I should. I took your class, but I still feel like there's just not enough great guys. And then I work with these CEO men who are having such a hard time choosing. And so I think we really have this exacerbated problem where so many women are competing for the same men, and then a bunch of guys are getting ignored. And then what ends up happening is, where do those guys go? And they go online. That's what you see to Reddit. They're really going to some of these red-pilled communities. And so what you're seeing now is just men really opting out of society. So when you go back to that stat, 1 in 7 young men in the UK is NEET, not an employment, education, or training. They have just opted out.
Y'all want a man of God until God speak to him about something, and then he tell you, and you just be like, oh, Lord Jesus.
Fix
Okay.
it.
All right.
Y'all want a man of God until he tell you to fix your attitude.
Oh, yep.
Okay?
Cause he will.
Definitely will.
Y'all want a man of God until you sleeping and he wake you up putting oil on your head. Like, now I'm greasy and I'm up. What you doing? Like, I'm trying to go to sleep. Now I feel like fried chicken. Holy fried chicken.
Y'all want a man of God until he wake you up at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning trying to get some. Okay? I have to give it up.
Can't deprive him.
Can't deprive him.
Y'all want a man of God until he start correcting you with scripture.
Ooh, no, Jesus.
He start quoting scriptures at you. And you be like, dang, why you know your word like that? Like, gosh.
Y'all want a man of God until he give you instruction. That hurts. Being obedient, the sacrifice, is better. I'd rather be obedient to my husband, as in following his instructions, because he has insight that I don't have. And clearly, I've learned my lesson.
Yeah, that submissive part is pretty hard. People wanting to do their own thing with so many modern women, wanting to cut up and go this direction and that direction. The fact that these two women have decided, you know what, I'm going to actually try to listen to what my man is saying and take the correction